This video will get cringy at times. Some of the clips are quite, amazing. But bear with me because you will learn how delusional some people are, including trained professionals, former military, former SEALs like this guy. And also there's another level to things that I think it's important to revisit yet again. Folks, as always, if it's your first time here, subscribe to the channel. If you want to learn more about realistic, no bullshit survival and preparedness, you have my books available in Amazon in the links there below. Surviving the Economic Collapse, Street Survival Skills. More important than ever, giving everything going on. First, reacting here to some of the claims made by Navy SEALs. I mean, I assume this man, Frogman Tactical, 340,000 subscribers. I guess the guy's a Navy SEAL, right? Reacting to what Sean Strickland, the MMA former champion, lost his belt recently, said. And all that Sean Strickland said was this. Check this out.
There's one fucking Navy SEAL who could survive a week training with me.
That's all he said. I don't think there's one fucking Navy SEAL that can survive a week of training with me. I get that from the point of him making reference to his own training, how intense it is compared to what Navy SEALs do. Now, some people took offense. Some Navy SEALs took offense on this, which they got their panties all bunched up in a ridiculous manner and made this not only about the training, which I assume is what Sean Strickland was saying there. No, as in we can actually beat you up. Grown men like this guy think that they can actually beat Sean Strickland in a fight, in a street fight, because they're Navy SEALs.
The weakest SEAL that has ever been created would destroy you in a street fight, as I would. There are no rules. We are fighting for our life.
So, most of the people in the prepper survival community, well, at least a lot of them are either active duty military, former military, cops, great guys. I know some great people. These are still conversations we need to have. There's this 5-year-old mentality that is, this perfectly well. And if you're a cop, if you're a military guy, either active duty or, a veteran, if you have any sort of understanding about this delusion, again, that many people have, that know nothing about fighting, guns, combat, none of it. They think that every cop is Bruce Willis in Die Hard. They honestly think that every single cop is capable of taking down a bunch of terrorists on their own with their Berettas, making improvised explosive, and doing a bunch of things that you see in movies. And they're all, of course, ninjas, martial art experts, because yes, every cop is. So this is the kind of thing that a lot of people that have no clue whatsoever think. Yet this guy is a former Navy SEAL. This guy should know a lot better than this. And so as to show that I'm not taking this out of context. And yes, I will say that this guy, dude, this one, well, we'll get to this guy in a second. We have folks like Andy Stump, which said, shut the fuck up, stop talking nonsense to some of these people. But so as to show that I'm not taking this out of context, this is what the actual video says.
You're protected by time. You're protected by a referee. You're protected by gloves. You're protected by a mouthpiece. And you're protected by rules.
What? I don't know. I don't even know what. I try to be super respectful whenever I do videos like these, replying to someone that's not even there. I try to imagine that I'm talking with the person face to face. What can you say to this? I don't know. This is the kind of thing you get from a 5-year-old. Maybe from a clueless adult that has no idea what fight. A grown-ass man that never got punched in his face ever, with or without a glove. Someone that never watched an MMA fight. Someone that think, oh, but I would go like crazy. You don't know how I am. I go crazy and I would beat everyone. Okay, you have any actual training? You ever fought? You ever took a class? You ever sparred at all in any shape or form? Okay. Again, guy, Frogman Tactical, Navy SEAL. These guys don't know that they have no chance in hell of beating Sean Strickland in a street fight? Really? That's the kind of... Because we all understand that a a trained professional armed will use his firearms to. You're not going John Wick on people. You're not breaking people's necks. That's not. Again, that is the fantasy that some people believe, thinking that every cop is John Wick or a ninja or right. But to honestly think that you will beat Sean Strickland in a street fight means that you're either a complete idiot or you have no training understanding of any kind of physical altercation with someone that is highly trained and a professional and a fucking world champion in mixed martial arts. This goes on.
At the end of the day, you get to go home, and you know it. And that is why men like you can act so tough and...
No, this guy who I don't know his name, no. Dude, no. Boxers, you don't know if you're going home. Many boxers have not. I don't know if there's been cases in UFC, but I can tell you, many boxers have not gone back home. Many boxers ended up with injuries that left them crippled for life. That is very common. There was a case of one that got repeatedly rabbit punched, and the guy is pretty much like a permanent disability, not able to function on his own. And yeah, many boxers have died. You don't know if you're going back. Do you fucking... What kind of training are these guys getting? Again, Navy SEAL. What kind of training is a Navy SEAL getting if he doesn't understand that getting knocked out cold, kicked in the fucking head with such force that you drop unconscious to the floor without being able to blink? This man has never been knocked out in his life. Not only that, you've never been punched, dude, in any kind of training. Nothing. You know nothing about fighting, and you're a Navy SEAL. When you are knocked out cold and you drop to the floor like a bag of rocks and you don't even blink and you probably go... That's brain injury you don't know if you're going back home. Let's just leave it at that. It goes on. Again, not me taking it out of context, not being mean. This guy is a YouTuber, right? Besides being a Navy SEAL. So, I mean, and he's replying.
Step in the ring and do what you do. Because if there was any possibility that you were not going to go home that night, you would not step in that ring for what little bit of money you make in those fights.
A lot of money, and again, every single fighter that gets into a boxing ring, let alone in a fucking cage to be kicked in the head, you're understanding that you may well get one of those kicks that you're not waking up from. You may get a neck crank in which you don't tap out fast enough, or the guy does not stop it, and you're permanently disabled from the neck down. I have to start to understand that this guy has no fucking clue about any of this. But again, what kind of training do they have these days, or back in the days in which this man was in active duty, that they don't know these things? You never watched boxing, even slightly interested? You never saw any kind of combat sports? Nothing?
You said
No?
that you can break
Wrestling maybe? Like Hulk Hogan? That was your thing?
any seal. Well, here I am. Accept my challenge, because I accept yours. I know that you're gearing it towards David Goggins, just clout chasing, but guess what? Now you've got someone else that wants a piece of you, and I want it desperately. The weakest SEAL that has ever been created would destroy you in a street fight, as I would. There are no rules. We are fighting for our life. Every single time you went for an armbar or a choke or something like that, I would chew your face off. Those ugly ears sitting on the side of your...
Cauliflower ears, they're called. No, dude, you would not. You would... You would get knocked the fuck out so fast. You would wake up kind of like Volkanovski, like what happened, and the man is a 5-year veteran champion. That would be you. You would be knocked out. You would be knocked the fuck out cold. And if they want to hurt you, they would hurt you in ways you could not And I'm not even talking about Sean. Mighty Mouse would fuck you up. And literally, I would bet money that a guy like Mighty Mouse can ruin you in less than a minute. By the clock. You have no fucking idea what a mixed martial artist at that level is capable of doing to someone that never fought in that way in their lives. Doesn't matter if you're a Navy SEAL. Doesn't matter if you're a tough New York cop like Bruce Willis. No, it is incredible because, I mean, I was thinking about this video. Am I analyzing things that are said by random stupid people? No. This is a guy that is a trained professional, supposed to be an elite soldier, is Navy SEALs. And I know guys that are just that and would never say anything like this. But the fact that you have not only this one, you have a bunch of these guys. I mean, again, there's guys like Andy Stumpf that said, yeah. But this one is the one that's honestly surprised me the most. Honestly, a grown-ass man that has some kind of experience and violence to think that a UFC champion would not fuck him up in a fraction of a second in a street fight. It is...
Head, I would rip off. If I needed to, I would run my thumb up your butt, but it's okay.
Okay, I'll stop because it is... it's getting, it's... ashamed of even hearing such stupid things. No, thumbs in your eyes, thumbs in your butts. What? Maybe that explains why he has no understanding of what a UFC fighter would actually do to him if he's involved in that kind of activities. And he goes on then about lube, and man, yeah, maybe that makes sense. But no Navy SEAL of any kind will beat Sean Strickland in a street fight. And the idea that you think that you would because you wouldn't play by the rules, that is embarrassing. Honestly, it's embarrassing to hear that a man that is a professional, he was at one time a professional soldier, thinks he would beat a champion mixed martial artist because he wouldn't play by the rules and he wouldn't use gloves and he wouldn't have a mouth guard and he would grab those ears. This guy obviously does not know this, and maybe a lot of you do. Even in boxing, there's eye poking. Even in boxing, typical dirty move in boxing, yeah. When you're just let that jab a little bit longer there, and with the thumb, with your glove, you just poke the guys out. You get a warning. Oh, he's poking my out, son of a bitch. Yeah, sure. And it happened. In MMA, exact same thing. Even easier because you don't have the fingers covered. So not only as in boxing, where you can use this one, there's fights. Carlos Monzon, a horrible fucking person, monster of a human being, but brutal boxer. And one of his moves was, poking with the glove, poking with the thumb in the guy's face. In MMA, it happens a lot, and it's even easier because they just do this, right, with a jab, just doing like that, and fuck. Yeah, it's dirty, but you're not going to be winning the fight with that, especially if you're not a mixed martial artist yourself, if you're not at that level. And you're not just talking about I would even say that based on what the man is saying, a random mixed martial artist would beat the living shit out of him. He has no clue what he's talking about. But the idea of, I would just bite you or kick you in the balls, that's the kind of thing like a 15-year-old little girl says. Oh, I will just kick you in the balls. Yeah, okay. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that when Sean Strickland is jabbing the shit out of your face, let alone he throws you on the floor and starts cranking your fucking neck. And if you're not playing by the rules, you're not tapping out, dude. You're not tapping. Okay, you're dying. You're dying or you're left paralyzed for life from the neck down. It is fucking embarrassing, and I'll end this here. But there's also the other aspect of this, which is this other guy replying to Sean Strickland saying that, well, thank me for you. I'll keep fighting for your freedom, right? So this thing of glorifying those that are in the armed forces, it's still a thing for a lot of people to go with, like, thank you for your service, right? For those that have served in the military. And that's okay. Everyone is free to think any way you want. Now, it's increasingly the case that the thank you for your service is becoming more of a question mark because it will really depend on what you're doing. If, for example, I have a local cop, which I know a ton of, and that guy stops a drunk driver, that guy is saving lives. Now, if a guy is deployed to some Middle Eastern country for whatever nefarious purposes the current administration is behind, maybe not so much. Maybe in that specific case, you're not really doing anything for me. You're definitely not doing anything so as to improve my freedom or protect it. It may well be that you're doing the exact opposite. I mean, and I cannot even say that's okay. That's kind of fucked up. But to expect someone to be thankful for that, you've gone beyond that point. And I know folks that have served in the U.S. military that don't like when guys go like, thank you for your service. I know guys like that. It makes them uncomfortable, right? But then you have this fucker right here who served time in prison that he's demanding you to thank you, dude. Thank you for thank you for making me free. And Sean Strickland very accurately said, I made a Navy SEAL upset. He said, we protect your freedom. I'm very pro-military, but I'm anti-government. But to say I protect your freedom, y'all need a history lesson on the federal government. Google Snowden and then Constitution. Taking care here of YouTube so as to not get a strike, aren't taking away my freedoms. Hallelujah to that. If your service involves maybe, I don't know, just you're protecting the border in the south of the United States from people crossing illegally, well then yes, you have a very strong case for saying, hey man, while you sleep comfortably in your home, I'm freezing my ass here in the middle of the night, making sure that no threats cross into our country illegally and unchecked. I'm kind of protecting you, man. Yeah, sure. Thank you for your service, maybe. Yeah, thanks. Or, well, that's what you're choosing to do, and maybe that's great on you. But that would be a lot more of a stronger case than just, yeah, I'm with the government, so thank me for what I'm doing. This is the kind of shit that people like this guy over here have in mind. This is the kind of shit that people from the Black Coffee CIA corporation have in mind. Those dudes, backed by government money, backed by God knows what else, these are the guys that spread the message of, yeah, guns should only be for trained professionals like ourselves. Guns should not be in the hands of peasants or common civilians. That is very fucking dangerous, and it's becoming more and more common. So, no, thank you for your whatever. Certainly not for whatever crime you committed that landed your ass in jail. Right? Let's not forget about that. But we're really getting into that point where Sean Strickland, with all of his issues, and the man accepts to even having some, mental battles himself, which I guess we all have to some extent or another. So very self-conscious about that. But he says lots of things that are very fucking true as well, and he has the guts to speak out. He did it before in that press conference in Canada. He's doing it yet again. And he's right about, man, those people over there, they're not the ones taking away my freedom. It's actually the people over here that are taking my freedom. And it's very likely the case that you're enabling that. And it's very likely the fucking case that if it comes down to it, some of these guys will show up, take your guns, take your freedom, and say, I'm just doing my job. And some of them may actually get a kick out of it. So be very fucking careful, guys, about where we're heading, because it's not all shiny and roses and colors and fucking flying unicorns, right? We have to judge people by their character, not by their uniform, especially given how governments all around the world are behaving lately. It is becoming a little bit too tied around the neck at times. A little bit too, those boots are getting a little bit too shiny and close to the heads of some people. So just triggered all of this rant of mine because of the Sean Strickland thing, but I think it's worth pointing out the delusion and the range embarrassing hero complex that some people have, thinking that they will beat fucking Sean Strickland in a street fight, which is the funniest thing I've heard in a long time. And the idea of, Yeah, you better thank me, man, because your freedom is thanks to me. See you next time.